Words themselves can have so much power, but words can also have no power, none. And it's kind of crazy when you start to think of it, because you realize that words only have power when you give them power. So when you say something to somebody, it could mean nothing to them, or it could mean everything to them. Someone can come up to you right now and call you a name, and it has absolutely no effect on you. None. Not even a little bit. Someone can come up and say something to you, and you can just be like, that's kind of weird. I wonder why they said that. Well, okay. And you go on about your day and you never think about it again. But someone could also come up to you and say something, and it could trigger you completely. It could set you off. It could ruin your whole day. Shit, it could ruin your whole week. You could think about it 7 days from now. Why did that person say that thing to me? Interesting. Have you ever thought about why that is? How some words can have no power over you. They mean nothing. And then some words can have massive amounts of power over you. And it can completely ruin your day. You can think about it a week later. You could be pissed off in 4 or 5 days. How can I not let this other person ruin my mindset? The person doesn't ruin your mindset. They don't. The person has absolutely no effect on you. No matter what happens, if you have no response to somebody or a massive response to somebody, they have no effect on your mindset. They didn't ruin your mindset. They didn't ruin your day. You ruined your mindset. You ruined your day. If the person who came up to you and said words ruined your mindset, and they came up and, maybe they said, oh, your face is so ugly. And maybe you have some sort of insecurity around what you look like. It could ruin your day. But if that person came up to you and said the exact same thing, but in a different language that you don't speak, that would have no effect on you, which shows you that you put the actual meaning into the words. You'd have no reaction if it was in a different language. So it's not necessarily the words is what we're coming at, right? It's not the words. It's what you think of the words. But it's also what you think of yourself. It's what you think of the words and what you think of yourself. And this is really important to understand. Words only hurt to the degree at which you already believe them.
Behind every yes lies 1,000 no's. And as I worked in business, my people, they're not too bad at getting to yes. It's saying no that's hard. I mean, the art of leadership is more about saying no than it's about just getting to yes. In order to get to the right yes, you have to learn to say no. The word no is critical in order to get to the right yes, in order to get to the smart yes. And that's true in business, it's true in personal life, it's true in every aspect of life. So no is critical in order to get to the right yes. But what kind of no? No, I've learned, has to be a positive no. And a positive no is very interesting. It has an interesting 3-part structure. Instead of starting, as most no's do, with a no, it actually starts with a yes to what is truly important to you. What are your key interests, your key priorities in this situation? And then it proceeds to a no, a very clear, respectful, no edge, neutral no. And then it ends just as it began, not on a no, but on a yes. In other words, a constructive, positive proposal.
The power of saying no. Learn to say no. Learn to be assertive. Learn to rely on yourself. The more often you say no, the more you get your brain used to thinking differently. You start relying on yourself. You start relying on making your own decisions. And you put yourself first. Because think of it this way, né? If you say yes, you're taking other people's problems with you. And I'm not saying you mustn't say yes here and there, but sometimes you fall into the trap of saying yes all the time. I'm one of those people where you end up becoming a people pleaser. You become a people pleaser, you're gonna get a lot of people mad at you because you will not be true to yourself. We come from there and we're sharing this wisdom because we've lived this life thing for 40-something number of years. If you ask me that I should drop you off somewhere and then I get there late, because number one, I must get ready, I must prepare, I must make sure that the car is ready, and then I must get you there. Or if you ask me to come pick you up so we can go to the club together. If I get there late or I can't make it anymore because I've got other commitments that I've either might have forgotten that I committed to earlier that are more important to me, then now you are mad at me. Now it's my problem. Your problem has become my problem. I've made it my problem voluntarily. And if I can't deliver, I don't know how long you're gonna be mad at me for. You probably, even though you're gonna say it's okay, but it's not okay, because you're gonna start looking at me like, yeah, this and that, yeah, this. Learn to say no. Learn to disappoint people if you have to. Learn to put yourself first.
The decisions that we make today determine the stories that we tell tomorrow. The decisions that we make today determine the stories that we tell tomorrow. If you're going to be successful in your business, in your ministry, in your career, a lot of people will look on and think, well, you must have made a few really big, great decisions. And you're going to know the truth that no. You made hundreds of smaller, faithful, behind the scenes, daily decisions, consistently making wise decisions over time. The problem is, many of us as leaders, we are not the best decision makers. So many of us, we end up making permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. We have to get above our emotions, disconnect our emotions to make wise decisions. When you're making decisions, avoid either or scenarios. As often as you can, avoid either or scenarios. What do we want to do? Anytime we're thinking, should I do this or that, we want to try to expand the options. I want to encourage you, anytime you're trying to decide between one thing or the other, ask yourself, is there a third thing, a fourth thing, a fifth thing? For example, should I fire this staff member or not? Should we add a new campus to our church or not? Should I hire this person or not? Expand the options. Should I fire this person, or should we try to get them coaching? Or should we move them to another department where they might be more successful? Or should we put them on probation with some goals? Or should we send them to a conference? Expand the options.
Trusting your gut can kind of feel like this mystical, unscientific approach to making decisions, but there's a ton of research in neuroscience that shows that this isn't just a theory. This isn't just something like that sounds real weird and woo-wooey. Like, it turns out that your gut and your feelings or your intuition may actually be the most powerful tool that you have for making decisions, especially when it comes to assessing other people or situations for your future. You know, we've been taught in our society, our society is very, very much like only head, only thinking, only rational, only intellect, only making rational decisions because it makes sense on a piece of paper, as if our emotions and our instincts and our feelings are just unreliable. Oh, feelings can't be trusted. But there's a saying that says, the heart knows what the mind cannot understand. And I always take heart and gut as kind of like a team. They kind of, the heart and the gut, they kind of team up together. And sometimes we can't fully comprehend why we feel a certain way, good or bad, about a certain person or a situation. But the feeling is really still very important to consider and to start to think about.